Hey guys, it's Clovis, and today I want to have a look at, or actually no, I want you to have a look at this. This replay is incredible. So, I'll put the timestamps if you want to skip straight to it, but I really just want to contextualize why I think it's so important that I've done a lot of work trying to research exactly how rubber banding works in Gran Turismo 3. For a really long time, I thought it wasn't the case, but I've seen very good players literally struggle like in a race car against an RX-7 in the amateur series, and it just doesn't make any sense. Like, I'll humbly say I've done all golds in this game a few times, and I still struggle with beating some of the the 90s Japanese cars. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, it just really shouldn't be this bad, and you don't really notice this rubber banding effect in beginner, and I believe the reason for that is in beginner, you have I believe how the game actually determines this is like they've people in the cutting room floor have extracted the different like difficulties. So on easy, the AI will corner speed at 3/4 of their max speed, and on a straight they will only use 85% of their power. And if you actually check replays, you can see that they still use their full acceleration. It doesn't, like, if you look at the inputs, it's not as if their input is 85%. Like, it's 100%. It's just what I think the actual power value is being adjusted based on the car that's being driven. And it's weird because, again, if you go into some races, like, for example, in the amateur series when there's 3 laps each, you'll notice that a Opel Speedster or VX220, depending on what version, will beat a Zonda C12, and it just kind of doesn't make sense. And there's like a bunch of discrepancies in this game where cars just kind of should not beat other cars. And you can also find this out yourself if you race in the amateur series with 5 laps or more, any of the ones with tire wear. And it's very, very interesting how cars manage to keep up with you. But it wasn't until I noticed something really strange in particular that I just look back at the replay and I'm like, yes, there is no doubt in my mind that there is absolutely a rubber banding mechanic in this game. It is ridiculous. So let's load the replay. And here we go. I've even named the file name Rubber Banding. So the thing about this replay is that some of the drivers will pit in and then somehow manage to magically catch up with the rest of the pack. So for context, I'm in an NSX, pretty much tuned up. But this car at the front right, we got a Lotus Elise 190, so this is in the amateur league. It's a 5-lap race. We've got Lotus 190, Lotus Elise. So this is my NSX, by the way. You'll notice this when you play casually. If you have the fastest car, you will pass everyone right at the start. You will completely overtake everyone by the first straight. And then the AI, they drive pretty well. Like, if we actually, what I'm going to do is add in, like, so you can see all their inputs. And also, so this time is irrelevant because that'll be the time of my car, but you'll see the inputs. And also you can see, yeah, the speed, the miles per hour. And this will be important later because you'll see cars kind of accelerate really in a strange proportion, right? So anyways, let's just have a look at how these cars operate normally. We've got the MR2, and they seem to drive okay. They have a pretty robotic way of driving. I've noticed all the AI, they seem particularly good at conserving their tires because they have very smooth inputs. Whenever they take sharp corners, you'll see their acceleration and their braking is pretty much at the exact level that they need to be to make the corner most of the time. However, you'll also notice, just like that the AI actually tends to drive quite aggressively, and because there's no damage in this game, what they actually kind of do is unintentionally ride the walls. And so I thought for a while that this is kind of how the AI drives scarily good in some stages, like in the street circuits. The AI, they're always just going to drive aggressively, and then worst case scenario, they hit the wall. I mean, these bots have hit the wall pretty much for half of the corners in the lap. It's quite ridiculous. But they're still not really catching up to me very well. They're still kind of racing each other. And I'm still at the front, but I'm not really too much of a distance away, right? So let's follow some of these cars when they actually are doing, like, really, really terrifying stuff. So I'm going to enable turbo, so the car's going to go faster. And what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to fast forward until the Clio and the MRS pit in. Because when they pit in, they'll be way behind the other cars. Like, way behind the other cars. And then when you see their driving, you'll kind of understand that it's very unnatural. I don't even need to compare the direct speed from when they're driving here to when they're way behind. Like, I literally do not need to do that. Once you see these cars driving after they've been pit in, you will kind of instantly recognize how inhuman the driving is. And they're definitely being given, like, a power boost, and I don't know what determines this. But the rubber band is just, you know, they get a boost until they are closer to everyone else. So you can see the Clio and the car behind it, the MR2, they have an orange tire, like a deep orange tire. That's enough for them to pit in. Whereas everyone else seems to be pretty fine. You know, these cars are conserving their tires pretty well. But these guys, they're going to pit in. And that's going to make them, like, really far behind. Like, really far behind. Now, I am aware that these guys are going to have fresh tires. But the guys, like, yellow tires are fine. They're still totally drivable. I'm still on green tires. But these guys have pit in now. And holy shit. Just have a look at this. Once they leave the pit, you'll see their acceleration rapidly. So like, look at that. Like, it's just turned into a race car. And now look at them take this corner. It's fucking insane. Ready? Like, that is not possible in, like, any car. Period. And just see, even after it touches a wall, it's accelerating so hard. Like, it's insane. This car has just suddenly turned into a race car. And remember, my car is still at the front, right? I have a tuned NSX right at the front. Still has, you know, pretty decent tires. And I know it doesn't seem like these cars are catching up, but trust me, they are. Trust me. And the reason why I'm focusing on these cars at the back is that the rubber banding doesn't really kick in unless the cars are a certain distance away from the car in front of them. So if I move to the cars in front, they would not be as, like, they're just not traveling as fast. But, like, look at that! Like, I think the car just has grip when it's not supposed to. It's actually, like, it's less like the car's gaining more power, and it's more like there is an actual rubber band or, like, a magnet in front of the car, like, sucking it through the corner. It is actually insane. And look at it do this again. This corner is just inhuman. It's just so wild to me. And now if you look at the map, you know, up here, look, over the course of just one whole lap, the Clio and the the MR2 are somehow pretty much already a second off the cars in front of them. In fact, they've been given such a power boost of some kind that, you know, despite the fact that they pit in and dropped like 20 seconds behind everyone else pretty much, they're literally right behind everyone else right now. And then, you know, now that they're closer to these guys, suddenly they don't really... Look, now it's just back to normal. Look at this turn. It's just back to normal. It's just a clearer Sport V6 like it always was. It's not really doing anything too crazy right now because it's close enough. It doesn't need a rubber banding mechanic to catch up. But just how ridiculous is this? Look at how close the game is literally forcing all the cars close to each other. Like, it really, really is. Like, how the hell is this car, you know, right in front of the one in front of it? I get that the tires have degraded, but, like, seriously? You can also see how far ahead I am of all the other cars. And again, like, obviously I'm driving aggressively. I'm purposely driving aggressively because I want to be far away. Look at the ZZS. The ZZS still hasn't pit in. I know it has orange tires, but look at the cars behind it. Right? Look at how far they are behind it. Now let's see what the Motorsport Elise does. Again, pay attention to the acceleration here once it's out of the pit. Look, do you see that? Like, once it exits a pit, you guys know when you pit in this game, right? It's on auto drive. It just accelerates normally. Once that auto drive ends, once it exits a pits, even though, you know, in auto drive the car is full throttling, once that pit sequence ends, and look right now, like, this car is just not supposed to be this fast. It is absolutely, there is no doubt in my mind that this is just pure rubber banding right now. The car is not supposed to be this fast. This is fucking ridiculous. Like, this is actually stupid. This thing is just suddenly a rocket now because it's 10 to 20 seconds or whatever the distance gap is. It could be timer based between each section. I don't know. I haven't really done that much research to this. But, like, I've tried to find all the different reasons of what could be happening, or, like, artificial rubber banding or whatever, but just look at this shit, man. Like, these cars were so far away. And, like, what the fuck is that? I hope you guys can see this. I hope I'm not going insane, because I know this game very well. I have hundreds of hours in this game, and I can't believe it's taken me this long to notice this particular circumstance. Just some races are way more dramatic than others, but look, how the fuck do these guys close the whole gap? They're on blue tires, which are cold. You know, and their tires have only just warmed up to the green. And look, everyone has the same time gap. It actually makes no sense. So, look, I know this wasn't the best, like, edited video. I do apologize for the shitty quality. It's just, you know, I don't make profit off these videos or anything, so I don't want to spend, like, hours of my day doing this. But I just wanted to upload this quick video because probably no one's actually going to upload a video about rubber banding in Gran Turismo 3, but it definitely exists. And you won't notice it in certain races, because I believe in beginner, you know, it's just not there. But once you start getting into the races that have, like, 5 laps or more, all of a sudden, like, a fucking Atomic Kyera ZZS can keep up with the Toyota GT1 race car. Like, it's ridiculous. It is actually insane. I don't really understand exactly how this works, but as you can see in the replays, like, those cars, these really average cars that you could destroy with a race car, you realistically should be destroying with a race car, they suddenly become rockets once you're, like, 10 to 20 seconds ahead of them. They just suddenly gain, like, a power steroid or something is really, really rubber bandy is going on. So, again, I know I didn't have any, like, comparisons or footage of, like, those cars compared to a previous lap when they weren't a certain distance behind. But again, I think if you just look at the screen, like, you can kind of see during their laps how sus their movement is, and just their speed. Their acceleration is ridiculous. It's like Formula 1 car level at some turns. It's actually stupid. So anyways, this video is just a shitty little video to basically confirm to anyone who is suspicious that there's rubber banding in this game. I played this game for hundreds of hours. I've done a lot of, like, trial and error trying to see what fishy stuff is going on, and this to me is, like, irrefutable evidence that there's rubber banding in this game. Those cars should never move that fast, but yeah, once you pull away from them, suddenly they are fucking way faster than they should be. And, you know, it doesn't actually matter how fast your car is. It always seems like the gap at the end of the race is everyone's, like, within a few seconds of each other. You know, despite some of the cars having more than one pit and some of the cars not pitting at all. They all just conveniently managed to finish within 2 minutes of each other. So yeah, if that doesn't confirm that rubber banding is in the game, then I don't know what would, apart from, like, an actual heavily edited video with comparisons and stuff that I cannot be bothered making. So thank you, have a good day, and don't be too hard on yourself if you know, lose to these guys, because they're designed to keep up with you. So if you, basically how a race works in these levels of rubber banding is, if you fuck up in the last corner and you can't recover from their natural speed, then you lose, because they're always going to be right behind you, whether you like it or not. That's just kind of how it is. So yeah, enjoy your day, and I'll see you later.